Hey everyone, it's Lisa here from the podcast, Her Healing Hour. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Number one, it's free. Number two, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your mobile phone or your computer. Number three, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. Number four, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Number five, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the Anchor free app right now or go to anchor.fm to get started. Bye. And just like that, we're back. Welcome everyone to another episode of Her Healing Hour. I'm your host, Lisa, aka the AlkaliYogi. Thank you to everyone who's been reaching out with words of encouragement to keep these episodes coming, because I do it for you, and it makes me very grateful that people are benefiting from the information that I'm sharing. So thank you everyone. I'm seeing your messages. I appreciate them, and I'll continue to do what I do so long as you're getting something out of it. And if you're joining me for the first time today, you're in the right place. Stay right where you are, because you can absolutely begin here and then go back to hear the first 3 episodes. So, who is the AlkaliYogi? Well, I'm a certified holistic lifestyle coach with the Czech Institute and a certified yoga teacher with hundreds of teaching training hours on my mat. You can take a free yin class with me, by the way, any Monday for the month of February of this year here, which is 2021, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Instagram Live at AlkaliYogi Retreats, spelled exactly as it sounds, AlkaliYogaRetreats, Alkaline Yoga Retreats. And I'm also the co-host of 3 upcoming wellness retreats at, wait for it, Usha Village, home to Dr. Sebi. So please stay tuned on our dates by visiting us at Alkaline Yoga Retreats. All right, so to recap what we've covered thus far, as we know it to be, there are 6 foundational principles to health and well-being. They are hydration, nutrition, sleep, thoughts, movement, breath. The first 3, hydration, nutrition, and sleep, are yin principles. They are anabolic in nature, meaning that they add, they put in, they cultivate energy, and they're also more feminine in their energy. Now, we spoke in depth about the first 3 principles in the first 3 episodes, which are still available for you to listen to at any time. However, beginning today, we will be covering the yang principles, which start with thoughts, movement, and breath. These principles are considered yang because they are catabolic, meaning they utilize and expend energy. They are more masculine in their signature imprint. And on a quick side tangent, yin and yang are present everywhere and in everything, including our own bodies. In fact, we're often targeting yang body parts with yin poses and yin parts with yang poses in our yoga practice. Now, when we chose to come here and have this experience on this here planet Earth, we entered into an agreement with the universe that we would experience polarity in everything. And boy, does the universe deliver. And just like the universe, we as human beings, we're an integrated system of systems that is constantly recalibrating. seeking balance. And balance, according to Chinese medicine, is the path to healthfulness. Now, back to those thoughts of yours. Let's talk about it. Are you aware that you're aware? Are you aware of the thoughts that occupy and consume energy and space? And if you are you aware that you can let them go? It's as easy and at the same time as hard as it sounds. More polarity, right? I know. Thoughts, well, they can act as magnets. We know that they can attract blessings and lessons at the request of our soul. And we also know that thoughts eventually become things. So because they eventually become things, they create a pathway to the life of your dreams or your nightmare. To put it more succinctly, the quality of your thinking reflects the quality of your life. That was just a little gem, another little gem, dropped by the Dr. A.R. Bernard. So thoughts are a function of the mind. The brain, however, is a muscle. Like any muscle in the body, the brain also needs stimulation and the right amount of stress to be at its peak, to be as strong and as efficient as it can be. That means that it also needs to be trained, right, into what to think and how to think. This can happen over time and with repetition. But I think, or rather, I feel that we can afford to think less and feel more. And so, whilst I'm not saying that you shouldn't train your mind into thinking, I think a different approach that I would invite you to explore is the idea of dropping out of the mind and into the body. Before I go there, I just want to say, as humans, right, we are programmed by the amygdala to focus more on the negative. That's just how we're wired. And that was by design. It was meant to protect us from imminent or immediate threats. It was meant to keep us alive. The amygdala, by the way, is the region of the brain primarily associated with emotional processes and is located in the medial temporal lobe, which is just anterior or in front of the hippocampus. Interestingly, as we continue to evolve over time, and we have amassed things that, we had never amassed before in terms of the amount of wealth and material objects, spaces even, you would think that having said that and how far we've come, that maybe we would have seen the size of our amygdala decrease, right? Because safety is not as much of a concern for many of us as it would have been a few hundred years ago. Well, one study that I came across noted that the size of the amygdala has actually tripled over that of our predecessors. And changes, they happen in real time also. In another study that I found on neurosciencenews.com, they reported that there is an increase in the size of a person's amygdala when that person is suffering from depression or anxiety. See what I mean by changes are happening in real time? I'm going to link these articles, by the way, in the show notes. The reason why this is important is because as the amygdala grows, the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain linked to memory and learning, is shrinking. This leads to reduced brain volume throughout the brain, which to me supports Dr. Bernard's quote that your thinking affects the quality of your life. Because literally your brain and its structure are being impacted by the thoughts that you're having. If you're having positive thoughts, your amygdala will shrink in size because it senses that there is less danger in the environment for you. And as a result, the hippocampus can expand. But what we're seeing is also the opposite, and more frequently, I might add, where the amygdala grows and the hippocampus is shrinking. because the amygdala is, again, our way of processing emotions. And the more we let our emotions and our thoughts run wild like an untamed horse, the more the amygdala grows. It's a lot to think about and to digest. But what I'm saying is literally how you're experiencing your life or viewing it or even digesting your life. It's impacted by the physical structure of your brain. And we can be active participants in cultivating the structure of our brain by monitoring, selecting, maybe avoiding thoughts as often as possible, right? Avoiding thoughts and dropping into the body more. But what does that mean exactly, right? It can feel a little bit abstract. So I'm going to give you an example. A beautiful person, a healer, we'll call her Romy, who happens to live across the pond, said to me one day, "Thoughts," she said, "they live in the ether. And you decide when a thought enters into your mind if it stays and takes root or if it leaves you. This means that you are not the author of your thoughts. You are the awareness observing the thoughts. So why let these thoughts that you have not authored stay and take hold of you, take residence, take up space, and not even pay you rent?" No, but honestly, to me, what this means is, if you really feel about it, did you notice how I just swapped out the word feel for think? So rather than how you think about it, if you really feel about it, you can actually choose whether or not to entertain, affiliate, absorb a thought or not. And again, I think the best way to do that is to drop out of the mind, boop, right into the body. As a yoga and meditation teacher, my invitation to you is, can you follow the breath? Anytime your mind goes into a loop where all your thoughts become repetitive, compulsive, but not beneficial, stop yourself from following those thoughts. Stop, because remember, you didn't even write them. You didn't even think of them, or rather, I should say, birth them or conceive them. So might as well just let them go, right? Instead, follow your breath. Follow your life force as it comes in through the nostrils and is traveling down through your throat. Feel it enter the lower belly, filling up the diaphragm, lifting your chest. Hold it there. And then when you're ready, follow that same breath as it leaves you. Slowly emptying and shrinking the lower belly, eventually contracting the diaphragm and deflating the chest as the air is pushed out of your nostrils. It sounds simple enough, right? It's not, but do it anyway. You'll absolutely find that what happens is you revert back to these random, baseless, useless thoughts in no time. But what I'm saying is the goal is not to never have these useless thoughts again, because it's just not possible. What I'm inviting you to do is take a break from the dysfunctional thoughts that are not serving you. Instead, being observant not only of your thoughts, but of your body. And maybe even pouring all of your awareness and attention inside of you. Because there's an entire universe waiting to reveal itself to you inside of you. And know that this will always be a practice, a lifetime practice, because you'll probably never master it. None of us will, probably. But sticking with it and continuing on the path is more valuable than the end result, because life is about the journey of self-discovery. And so the question is, are you ready? Are you curious? Do you want to embark on a journey of self-discovery, introducing you to the most interesting person you will ever meet? Yourself. We are masters at giving away our attention, our resources, our awareness, and to learn about any and everything else outside of us. But you'll spend more time with yourself than anyone else. It is then worthwhile to get to know yourself more, right? Learning about what's happening below the surface. It can provide not only a great deal of insight, but also give you an idea into how you came to be where you are today. Now, again, I could easily make this episode about the various modalities available to help you with more positive thinking. I get it. But again, my experience is it's less about learning how to think and more about connecting with how you feel. And you have to be in the body to really feel how you feel. Because the stuff that's in your mind, we don't know where it came from. We know it was in the ether and in the collective consciousness, but you are not the author. And so there's no real reason to attach yourself to these thoughts that then turn into feelings that can then disrupt your life and cause anxiety, depression, pain, suffering. The mind and our thoughts are easily manipulated, but guess what isn't? Our hearts and our guts. And that is why I think it's more about learning to feel from within, below the neck, than it is to learn about how to think more positively. Creating a space, no matter how short or small it lasts, that is free, and I mean free from overthinking, is the only way you'll experience your thoughts as separate from you and not your own. And that is critical, because the sooner you experience that separation, the sooner you'll be likely to give it less credit, less time, less of your energy. I meant to say credibility. You'll give it to us less credibility because you know it's not coming from you. For many of us, the best that we can hope for is to create slivers, moments of rest for the mind, which in turn becomes rest for the body. But over time, what happens is that you'll experience these periods for longer, and you'll find that accessing these spaces that are free from cessation, from useless thinking, you'll access them with more ease. This is also known as meditation. And another interesting fact about meditating is that numerous studies have actually shown that experienced meditators have smaller amygdalas than people that do not regularly meditate. I'll say it again, because change can happen in real time. Studies have proven repeatedly that regular, experienced meditators have smaller amygdalas than the people that do not meditate, ever or regularly. What does that tell us? We actually contribute to our brain function and capacity and the amount of time that our central nervous system lives in fight or flight by being in our bodies and out of the mind. And if we improve our brain function, I mean, how many windows and opportunities could that bring to us? If our central nervous system is able to be more parasympathetic than sympathetic, what benefits would we reap from that? I'd say that the opportunities are endless. Increased brain function, a more relaxed nervous system and a healthier immune system, sign me up. So yeah, if you're out of your mind, I say kudos to you. Stay there and stay put whilst the rest of us try to catch up. Drawing all of your attention and awareness inside of you to experience your breath, your life force, your true essence, reveling in the subtleties of the flow of the energy that moves through you, the fluids that move through your body, carrying priceless data, nutrients, information, universal truths, and codes, I think is amongst the greatest of highs that you'll ever experience. And it's free. Because in those moments when you're made whole again, that's when you are reminded that you are a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. I'm going to say it in a different way, putting it in my own words. We are spirit with a mind, not a mind with a spirit. I can't feel. See how I swapped out feel for think again? Wink, wink. I can't feel of anything more pressing in our own lives than taking back our power and reclaiming who we are at the core. Imagine what you could create, contribute, or inspire by learning and mastering yourself. We spend so much time trying to control everything outside of ourselves. In my own life, I can attest to the fact that I have spent more time, energy, and resources on other people and other things outside of me. And I think that kept me for a very long time from living a life that I truly loved. I think I would have gotten to a better place sooner, possibly with fewer detours, had I spent more time in myself and with myself. Still, I have no regrets. And now I am much more active in creating the life I want for myself. This episode is special to me because if you know me, I have struggled more than once with debilitating depression and anxiety. And in fact, I think that those very struggles have a lot to do with why I've chosen this path now. Bringing, empowerment back to individuals who want to have a say in their health and their well-being. Because that's your right. It's your absolute right. And everyone else around you can support you. And that can include your doctors, your health practitioners, your holistic lifestyle coaches. We're all just here to add to the team. But it's always going to be you that's driving the bus because there is only you, and you are the master of you. No one else can be. So that is to say, I'm doing much, much better now. I can't say that I won't struggle again in the future, but having gone down this path has brought me here where I'm able to share skills that I've acquired. And in having those skills, I also have to rely on those skills. And there comes moments, oftentimes, where I have to pull them out. Almost daily, I would say, if I'm being honest. But that's great because it just means that I have a part in my life. I have the lead role, as a matter of fact, in my life. And if I were to hit rock bottom again, I would have some tools to help bring me out of that. I do that in part by saying that staying out of the mind and being in the body and discovering and knowing yourself is one of the best medicines available to us out there today. In the climate and in the time that we're living in, where more and more we are conditioned to look to others for the answers. I'm saying you already have the answers. And I would just like to be on your team to help you unearth that answer. I'm not here to give you any answers. But I am here to share with you my experience, the tools that I have that could potentially help guide you towards yourself. So depression and anxiety, we are experiencing that, I think, at elevated levels, probably more so in the last 11 months even, with this pandemic that we're experiencing. But again, we have choices. Whether it's to focus on your third eye, to take a mental seat, where you just observe your thoughts coming and going, but not latching on and certainly not going along with them. Whether it's getting into your flow state. And your flow state would be tied into whatever your gift or talent is. It could be singing, it could be playing a sport, it could be cooking. You have options. I'm just here to remind you that you have options. And those options will take you out of the hell that, if unchecked, your mind will conjure up. In the words of Paul Chek, the founder of the Chek Institute, heaven or hell live in the same place, the space between your ears. Lao Tzu said, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. And if you are at peace, you are living in the present. There are many, many ways for you to come into the present, to take yourself out of your mind. And by the way, for the purpose of this podcast, the terms coming into the present, the terms coming into the body are being used interchangeably. So there are many ways to come into the present, take yourself out of the mind. But because there is only one you, I don't have a prescription for you because there is no one-size-fits-all approach. That's what allopathic medicine will tell you. But I don't come from that school of thought. In fact, that goes against my teachings and my feelings about wellness. I am very devoted to a holistic approach. And part of my job is to walk alongside you whilst you're learning and testing different modalities to help you drop into your true self. And so my call to action here is, are you ready to begin now? Because now is all you have. In the words of Eckhart Tolle, when you're thinking about the past, where are you? You're in the now. When you're thinking about the future, where are you? You're in the now. This is all you have. Being present is the first step to freedom from the grip that the mind can take over you. Some other examples of modalities that you could experiment with would be asana, also known as yoga, the physical practice of yoga. And by the way, as a yoga teacher, I just have to say, the West has done an amazing job of making yoga fitness. But guess what, guys? Yoga serves one purpose. The only purpose that yoga serves is to bring you back to yourself, to connect you to your breath, to take you out of your mind, and to separate you from your thoughts. In fact, the word yoga means union, to bring back, to come back to yourself. And as we now know, we have not authored these thoughts. They live in the ether, so they are not ours. Anything else that you're getting out of yoga, whether it's a six-pack, or toned, everything, but toned arms from all those chaturangas. I mean, that's great, but that's not the purpose of yoga. It was literally a gift given to us to help take the wiggles out so we can find stillness. Continuing on with examples of modalities to keep you present. Breath work, and there are so many variations here. A really popular one is the Wim Hof method right now. And I understand that he studied under gurus out of India. And there are loads of YouTube videos that you could trial and error, if you will. Tapping, so tapping along the meridians, around your temples. There are certain spots that you have to hit, but tapping is a great way to come out of your mind as well and to be in the present. And there are videos on YouTube for that as well. As a matter of fact, most of these things you can find on YouTube. As I heard someone close to me calls it YouTube University, which I thought was brilliant. So you could always enroll at YouTube University for many of these modalities and in a free and accessible way to test them out until you're ready, or if you're ready to hire someone. Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, journaling, sports, and spending time in and with nature are just a few ways to bring you out of your mind, to stop the overthinking. And if you think that this doesn't apply to you because you're an optimist and your thoughts are mostly positive, think again. You're only aware of a fraction of your thoughts swirling in your head. It's not humanly possible for you to process the over 60,000 thoughts that you experience on any given day. And despite being an eternal idealist, you're probably still overthinking. But most of us are. You're not in this alone. And the success is in the practice. Nothing and no one is perfect, but it does get marginally better when cultivating a new experience with consistency. So to summarize, I want to bring it back full circle. Your thoughts are equally impacted by the other 5 foundational principles. Remember, we are an integrated system of systems. No, wait, I said that incorrectly. We are a system of integrated systems. So everything is interconnected, right? What you eat, your nutrition, is going to affect your thoughts because we are what we eat. Our hydration will also impact our thoughts because our faculties literally hinge on our body's ability to carry fluids, oxygen, and nutrients to our brains and organs. Our movement, that can also impact our thoughts because our structure impacts how essential nutrients and other relevant information travels, or not, to the body. That's why you always want to keep your structure, your physical structure, as aligned as possible so that there is free-flowing information happening between the above and the below. So the brain and the body. Our breath, because breath can alkalize or it can acidify the body, depending on whether you're breathing well. And an acidic body leads to a brain that is susceptible to acidity and inflammation. That creates an environment, a gorgeous environment, I may add, for negative thoughts. Okay. And finally, our sleep, which we covered just last week. Because we know that sleep, or lack thereof, sleep can kill you. Wait, sleep can heal you. Or if you're not getting enough of it, and the quality and the right amount of it, it can kill you. So, of course, sleep is also going to have an impact on your ability to access thoughts and the quality of those thoughts. And I'll just say that also not having enough sleep makes, again, the entire body vulnerable to illness. And when the body's vulnerable, the brain's vulnerable. Again, we are an integrated system of systems. There is no separation. Our job is just to do our best with what we have and where we are, to hold space for grace and compassion, and set an intention for yourself. Set an intention, because it's been my experience that intention, it counts for a lot. I feel like 80% is just intention. So intend to maybe think less, feel more. Maybe intend to find liberation in the body and in the present. Any questions? If you have them, or amendments, or deletions, or additions, whatever it is, go ahead and send them over to me at AlkaliYogi@yahoo.com. Or you can find me on my socials on Instagram. I'm also AlkaliYogi, which is spelled AlkaliYogi, AlkaliYogi. So you can find me on Instagram or at AlkaliYogi at Yahoo. I almost said Hotmail. No. AlkaliYogi@hotmail.com. Once again, I'm signing off. Stay well and be well. And I will see you next week. Thanks, guys.